Hi, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MMA Huddle. Myself, Will, and John are here to break down a really lackluster card with an unbelievably good main event and a pretty good co-main event if we're talking about good fights. Like I said, I kind of feel a little bit getting a great main event, and then you fill it with absolute filler throughout. It's not a great card. We're kind of going to get through it as quick as we can. I don't want to spend any more time thinking about this card than I kind of need to. Before we get into breaking down these fights, I'll talk about some of the betting aspects of it at the end of the show. Like, comment, subscribe. We're nearing 800 subscribers, which is pretty awesome. We're going to have a really good year for subs, so we really do appreciate it. Thank you for even commenting, even if you disagree, whatever it may be. Thank you for tuning in and just helping us grow, and that's kind of what it's all about. So, yeah, we're coming off a pretty bumper weekend of fights. There was fights in Ireland, there was fights in America, there was fights in Denmark, there was fights all over the place actually last week, and I managed to catch a fair bit of it with Denmark. I was actually on holiday from Saturday, so after I come off the golf course, I watched most of that card. It was a rough card, kind of betting wise for myself, and picks wise was rough, and but overall there was a lot of good fights over the weekend, and some guys came through. I thought Callan looked fantastic. Actually, I thought once Jack Hermansson couldn't really establish a takedown. Now he did get him down with a German suplex, but after that, you just knew the kind of writing was on the wall for Hermansson. He was rushing things, in my opinion. And then he started getting pieced up, and he got his ass beat pretty comprehensively. But there was I didn't see OSP winning his fight like that. But then again, OSP, once he gets the opportunity, usually finishes like that. So, and like Nicholas Dalby coming back, I was a little bit. I'll be honest with you, I came out in that fight. I thought he was on his way to losing that fight until that referee pulled him off, because I didn't think he was going to get back to his feet after that. So I thought he was a little bit lucky with that, but. You could have easily scored the first couple of rounds for Dalby anyway, but yeah, it was Jack Shore, absolutely. It was the one fight I had a lot of shit picks last week, but that's the one I got absolutely spot on. I was happy with that, and I was really glad to see that he got a big bonus as well, because usually the UFC kind of forget about the guys away down early on in the card, and especially him being first out. I think it was great to see his performance. You see, I think a little bit of improvement with his hands. I think his head movement needs to really be worked on, but his ground game is amazing. And I know he wasn't facing the best or the stiffest of competition, but he showed his intent, and it's a great debut into the UFC for him. So, did you enjoy the fights at the weekend there, John? And how did you like Jack Shore's performance? Because I think you liked it quite a lot.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, solid performance. Dominated. Obviously, a lot of people who didn't know who Jack Shore was or really looked into it didn't really think anything much of it. Didn't think anything was going to happen. Obviously, us Europeans on social media, you saw us all bigging him up. I think people across the pond were a bit surprised at how well he did. Nicholas Darby, I think it's just a beautiful story, but the card itself, some weird refereeing decisions. It wasn't your usual referees, and like some weird stand-ups. Just at random points in the fight, man. It caught me right off guard. I'm very questionable now about betting or picking Gunnar Nelson. Awful fight.
Well,
I thought his fight IQ was despicable. Never really got in the fight. Never started. I was like, he was waiting forever. Macy as well. Awful fight IQ. And Brendan Davis. There was some good tells from the card though. You kind of went, look, Macy, for some reason, didn't pick the best option, which was standing for her hands. Absolutely perplexing. And she deserved to lose, because she was absolutely horrible in that fight. But overall, not a bad card. Some good, like say, Cannonier just surprised and kind of... I say surprised because I think, everyone expected a bit more of a war out of it. And I want him against Costa next.
mm,
So the next fight I'd make Cannonier and Costa, like, whoo, that would be... beautiful to see that fight happen.
it's a logical fight to make, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, I would say that. I know.
Because who knows what's going to happen with this main event this week? So if considering the way Adesanya's been fighting, seems every few months, but Whittaker's been out for a bit. But if if we expect this to be the fight that I think it's going to be, then going to need a good 6 months to kind of recuperate after this.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you could definitely have that. You could have those two guys, Cannonier and Costa fight November, December time. Have a
Mhm.
fight for the number one contender spot because Cannonier is fresh, and you get them guys, the winner of this fight. Who knows in maybe February, March time. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think it would definitely work out. So I'd like to see that happen. But overall, yeah, enjoyed it. It was nice to see Copenhagen go well. The boys had a good time. It seemed like a good event all in all. So yeah, I enjoyed it, mate. And like say, Cage Warriors Liverpool was on, Bellator Ireland, and across in the state. So a lot of action going on.
Mhm. Yeah. So we're going to get into this. We're actually going to try and fly through these prelims because it's I've not I've been on my holidays pretty much since Saturday, so I've really tried not to look into this as much as I usually do because I thought I really don't think it's worth my time, honestly. So but again, when I see that, there's me sitting down today. I've got a funny story about one of the fights, which I'll talk about later on, which John just literally just put me onto here. So that's a funny story that I'll tell you later on. Um, this is a fight that was rescheduled from UFC 242 from Abu Dhabi. It was moved over here, which is a little bit weird. I don't know why. I don't know if someone got an injury or what it was, but it got moved over here. Khalid Taha against Bruno Silva. I'll let you lead off with this.
I'm going Khalid all day on this one. I think the kid's got a lot of potential, especially in the bantamweight division. I think he's quick. He's got power in his hands. He's got good get up off the ground. He can get fights. He can grapple as well if you want fights to the ground. But I think the guy's explosive and powerful. I think Bruno Silva, from what I watched of his fights, I didn't think he was overly impressive. I thought maybe Bruno Silva's opponents, I thought he did okay. Wasn't he on the Dana White Contender Series, or am I getting mixed up there with someone else? But I just thought that overall on a skill set, I think Khalid's going to get another stoppage here. Man, I really do. I think he's going to stop Bruno early on in the rounds, like early first or second round. Man, I think he's got good pop in his hands, and I think the speed is what's going to be a factor. I just think Bruno Silva's not a bad fighter at all. He's shown some good skills in his fights. I know he's like the head kick one he lost. It's not ACB. It was, where did he lose that fight on? Some Paris, something like that. I can't remember now. Gosh, I'm gonna fit the name of the promotion. I can't. I'm gonna. He lost like in 7 seconds or 10 seconds. Something like that. The guys started off, met in the middle of the cage, and just this with this. I think it's like a left head kick or something, and just starched him. But it was a hell of a finish, and it was beautiful. That to me, I know it was a few years ago. That though says maybe. I'm not saying he's a slow starter. But it says to me that maybe he is vulnerable at the start of fights. Maybe he's a guy that needs a little bit of a time to get going. Some fighters are like that in bouts. And I think this is one where Taha can take full advantage of this with his hands. And I think you're just going to see him throw those hands and probably stop Bruno Silva. I'm going to go first round again. I think he's got potential as Taha kid.
Yeah, I like. Well, I mean, I did not see that knockout of Boston Salmon come so quick. But you can see the guy. He's got fast hands. He's got big power, and he can catch you because Salmon comes from a boxing background as well. So
Yeah.
quite quick. What I've seen of Silva, I'm not overly impressed with it. Like I say, when you put in Bruno Silva on YouTube, and the first thing that comes up is a 7-second head kick knockout. That doesn't bode well. He has made improvements. He's actually, I think, he's got a spinning like wheel kick knockout on there as well that I managed to watch. But he's the only thing that I do like about Bruno Silva is the fact that he's pretty much Henry Cejudo's best friend. So he's training a lot with the Pitbull brothers, with Cejudo, Eric Albarracin. So he's coming from a camp right now that's like sky high. Confidence is high. I just think I think he can potentially get Taha down. But I think on the feet, with the power and the speed, I think Taha could crack him and knock him out. So I've got Khalid Taha. I don't know whether he knocks him out, but I think he wins over a 15-minute period of the fight and wins that through that. So, yeah. Flyweights, Nadia Kassem against Jeon Kim. For the last kind of couple of days, I've been thinking, right, what opportunity has Nadia Kassem really got to win this fight? And I'm trying to give her a chance, but then I'm like, you watch her and you think, eesh. Nah. Jeon Kim's got a big reach advantage there. She'll use it. I think she was just brought in the UFC far too. She might make a big improvement in this one. This is probably going to be a last stand. but I've got Ji and Kim. I think she's going to just out volume her. I think it could be a fun fight though. I think that Kassem's going to bring it to her, but I think she's going to get her head popped back pretty easily. I've got Ji and Kim via decision here.
Yeah, it's an awful fight, isn't it? Like, I can't. Gosh, tape stud on this one was rough. I don't even think much of Kim either, but I think less of Kassem. I think Nadia's far too green to be in this promotion. Far too, they signed her up apart. Combination of where she's from, and also because of the way she looks, and it's really frustrating that. I'm like, why don't you just sign people on talent? If they're not ready, they're not ready. I've got Kim as well, mate. I just think she can just over the 3 rounds just get the points, get that decision win. And for Kim, it's a kind of must-win fight as well. I'm with you, bro. I think Kim can just outstrike her, get the numbers. Unless Nadia's done something crazy since our last fight, like get a good skill set, I can't see her winning.
No. Jimmy Mullarkey against Brad Riddell's up next. Who you got?
Oh, I like this one. I actually like this one. Jamie Mullarkey is it Jamie? Yeah, Jamie Mullarkey's one of Ross Pearson's. Well, I say one of Ross Pearson's boys. He trains with Ross Pearson, and the kid's a young talent. He's a good talent. He's not bad. He's got some good wins under his belt, and Brad himself as well is actually a surprisingly good talent. So actually, pair of them, this is actually going to be one of the quiet fights. Brad has got a ridiculous Muay Thai background, so Jamie's going to have to mind his P's and Q's in this one, because I'm not saying Jamie got away with some of his fights, but in some of his fights that he had himself. Not say grown up, sorry. In regional scenes, he did good, but he was susceptible and did get hit a few times. He is hittable, and when a guy like this, who Brad's got that kind of experience, I think it's something that he has to take into account big time. And if I'm Jamie, I'm trying to get this fight to the ground. Really, it's the best fight they can do. You look at Jamie; he actually fought Volkanovski before signing with obviously a while back, but he obviously got stopped. So he's been stopped a few times by strikes. So it's there. He can be stopped on the feet. On the ground, he's far more well-rounded or accomplished. Let's say he has got a really good ground game. On the feet, he's quite calm and quite quietly paced. But on the feet, though, Brad is the better striker. All-round better striker. Got a far better arsenal. I'm a bit torn on this one. I am a bit torn. I'm a bit stuck on who to pick. But I'm going to go for experience. I'm going to go for Brad. I think Brad's got a lot of experience. He's actually got a big following. I think Jamie has as well, to be fair. I'm a bit torn. It's not an easy one for me to pick on this, because I think that both of them are going to be really good fun talents in the UFC as a whole. For this one, I think Brad might just be able to pip him. So I'm going to go Brad with maybe a decision win or win with some kind of stand-up striking.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this is. I think you've got when I look at Brad Riddell, I don't see very much of a ground game. He's a striker, and you can go back many, many years and watch his kickboxing fights. I think it was the John Wayne Parr fight was the ones that I was watching. But he's coming from a gym like that. City kickboxing gym in New Zealand is unbelievable right now. So I've known about Brad Riddell for a little bit. When I was watching some of his fights, like you can tell he's pretty impressive on the feet, but I just think he's one of these people, if you can get him to the ground, I think you can control him there. Mullarkey, I don't think he wants to really stand with him too long. I think if he does, if this fight stays standing, I think he'll lose. But as an MMA fighter, I think if he gets him down, he'll establish top position. I think he'll end up kind of hurting him with some of that. He's a very, very game fighter in every facet, is Jamie Mullarkey. I thought coming into this before watching a couple of fights, I thought this is to maybe set Brad Riddell up a little bit. And when I went, I was like, oh, he's not. This is a good opportunity for Mullarkey to come in here. And I mean, he takes a few shots himself. He takes a few good shots. But once he gets into a position where he can deliver the damage, he's very, very good at doing that. So I'm going to take Jamie Mullarkey to get this fight down to the ground and kind of establish position and probably win maybe a late TKO or with a decision here. So I've got Jamie Mullarkey for the win there. Moving on to the prelims, who knows where this is going to be now. Megan Anderson against Zairh Fairn Santos. Who you got?
It's yourself, bro.
Oh, is it? I'm picking Megan Anderson. I think this is a set-up fight. I don't think Dos Santos has really got the ground game that's pretty obvious. If you can get Megan Anderson to the ground, you're going to beat her ass, pretty much. Even if you've got a threat of a takedown, I don't think Dos Santos, when I've watched her, I don't think she's really got that. So they're bringing her to Australia here. I don't know whether she's a big name in Australia because I think she fought there very, very early in her career and then went out to the States. So, or did she even fight in Australia? Yeah, she did. An early fight, her first 4 or 5 fights, which is fair enough. Yeah, I think this is a self fight. But in saying that, I said that last week. I said that with Ulrich Sejchuk. I thought this is the self fight to get him into that top 15. Didn't work out that way. So I just think if it's going to be a stand up fight, I think that Megan Anderson's probably going to have the advantage. But honestly, I didn't really watch too much into this. I've had enough of kind of watching Megan Anderson shit the bed one too many times, and I'll go Megan Anderson via TKO in the mid part of this fight here.
Yeah, it's not a fight I was overly engrossed in. I actually had the luxury, so to speak, of seeing Santos fight live on the regional scenes. The girl has got power in those hands. That is the only kind of thing Megan's got to be careful about. That Santos can crack, and she'll be coming at this fight, and she will be swinging hard in that first round. I think it's really for Megan to really just keep the distance if she can. Just do that kind of basic point fight striking that she has, and just keep him with the kicks, keep her away, and get to the second, third round where Santos maybe start tiring off and pittering away after that jitters. But I'm gonna go Anderson to win. But like you said, she shits the bed too many times. She's not championship material. She lives in this world that no one else lives in, where she thinks she can hold a title. What happens with this featherweight division anyway? It's the thinnest division I've ever known in my life. But yeah, I'm going to go Anderson Silva too.
So Callum Potter against
Sorry, Megan Anderson.
Callum Potter against Maki Pitolo. Who you got?
I think Potter's going to sleep again. I think Potter got his chance to come into the UFC, the regional journeyman, let's say. But man, that Maki kid, he's got some pop in those hands. That dude, woof, man, like he hits and guys just don't like it. I think Potter is, like you say, your kind of fundamental regional fighter. Will take the fights here and there, and he's not going to ever be like a world beater. But man, looking at Maki, he's got power in his hands. He's actually got submission skill set as well. He's got a bit of a ground game to him as well. But for me, I just don't see what Potter's going to offer. I think Potter's just going to be game. I think he's going to bite down his gum shield, and I think he might just come striking as well, come at him come a bit aggressive. But I just don't see him winning. I don't know where he's going to win with this. Man, unless he can outlast him. But even then, I suppose maybe he gets to fight to the ground, or Maki's not going to take it to the feet, man. I'm to the ground. I'm going to go Maki for stoppage, mate, TKO or knockout. I think he's in for a rude night, man. I just think Maki can keep backing him up to the cage, release those hands at that kind of aggressive pace, because I think Potter will know that he can land that Maki hits hard. So I'm going Maki for stoppage, mate.
Yeah, I think Callum Potter was just brought into the UFC far too late. I think he's taken a hell of a lot of damage. I think that he got starched in like 50 odd seconds by Jalen Turner last time out. I think I was at 155, I want to say, as well. So I don't even know if that was 155. I think it might have been. But then he's moving up and he's facing this guy who, like, his nickname is Coconut Bombs. The guy throws bombs. Like, the guy throws absolute missiles. And if he catches Callum Potter with this, he's going to put him to sleep in the first round. I think that's the more realistic thing, is that he's going to knock him out in the first round. It'd be interesting if he went to the ground. Maybe Callum Potter would use his kind of ground game, which I think he probably has an advantage of. But I think the speed, I think the power is going to be too much, and I think Pitolo's going to knock him out in the first. So I've got Maki to win that one there. I was going to talk about the heavyweight fight, but I just seen that it's been moved to the heavyweight card, the main card. So it looks like the main fight in the prelim is going to be Jake Matthews against Rosten Akman. Is it you or me?
It's you, mate. You've just done,
yeah. Yeah, I think Rosten's going to give him a tough fight, but I think, like I say, I've said this before, I think it might be a little bit of a setup fight for Jake Matthews, but I think he's had them in the past and he's never really came through and shined as much with someone like, I mean, like the Andrew Holbrook fight. I could have said that was a kind of setup fight for him, but then he came through and he looked alright in those 3 fights. I thought he lost the Bojan fight personally. Beats the Leech Jin Liang, which is, when you look at that, it's a great win in your record, and then beat Shinzo Anzai with a beautiful submission in the first, and then he's got a kind of step up against Rocco Martin, and just didn't look good, and it got stopped in that one there. Later on, he kind of took a lot of damage. He was just, seemed like he was second to the punch. He was just a little bit behind Rocco, and ended up losing that one there. But when I look at Akman, I thought he's durable, but outside of that, I don't see where he's going to have huge advantage there. So I'll take Jake Matthews to kind of get back on in the win column here again in Australia, and see if he can kind of progress himself. Because I still think there is opportunity for him to become a fairly decent fighter. We've seen that before, but he's so up and down. You don't know what Jake Matthews you're going to get. If you're going to get the one against Li Jing Liang, where he looked fantastic, or you're going to get the one against Andrew Holbrook, he's up and down, and that's the way he's going to be. But I think this is going to be an up for him. I think he's going to win this fight here.
Yeah, it's a nice replacement than the Rocky Martin fight, who's, the pair of them were up on a rise. Akman did a lot on the amateur scene, did really well on that with the World Championships, came into the pro ranks, does solid. He actually's got good hands, he's got good movement, good counter striking, he hits hard. Matthews just has to be, wary, because he does like to get sometimes into a bit of a dogfight, Jake Matthews. I just wish he'd, show a bit of maturity. He's not, he's not new to the game in the UFC. He knows the score. Just take your time, back up, reset, and start again. If I'm Jake Matthews, if I'm honest with you, I'm taking Akman to the ground. Jake Matthews apparently is a black belt, and I think he's like 2 years old, but he's legit. He's actually good on the ground. If I'm Matthews, I would stay on standing for the feet a bit and get to the ground. Like you said, Will, he has got potential still. I think he's not reached his ceiling. I don't know if that's training with his father, and maybe he needs to go elsewhere to get kind of fresh eyes and a fresh perspective away from that. But I'm going to pick Matthews as well. I think it's just a hell of a lot of experience on the pro scene, especially in the UFC. And Matthews, he's a goddamn good talent. I've always had a bit of time for Jake Matthews, man. So I'm going to go with Jake for a win.
Yeah, so this fight looks like it's been moved to the pay-per-view portion of the card. It's in the heavyweight division with Justin Tafa against Yorgan de Castro. And how do you see it going?
Man, 2 of them are too early to come in the UFC, the pair of them. But again, it's what the UFC do in these Australia cards. They bring guys in who shouldn't be in the UFC. It's going to be a stand-up fight. The pair of them are going to go swinging. I don't see the fight going more than 2 minutes. If it does, trust me, Yorgan is not very interesting after about a round. He is pretty dire. Justin Tafa, same again. Really dwindles off after a round. Justin's kind of with those Tuivasas, Mark Hunt, his brother as well. Kickboxing, they've got a lot of striking. They like to strike a lot. The ground game on the pair of them is just not really there. If they get on top and they start landing ground and pound, it's purely because they're so big. You just can't get them off. It's not really a technical aspect. But trust me, folks, it's going to be stand up. I'm going to go with Tafa on the feet. But it's a heavyweight division. Don't be shocked if Yorgan wins, but I think this fight is made for Tafa to try and get the win. But yeah, mate, I'm not even really that fussed about it, because the pair of them, oh my gosh, people are going to be expected to pay to watch these people fight. Fucking butter my arse. I'm going to Tafa, mate.
Yeah, well, I'll come out and say this story, which I spent like my afternoon thinking that Justin Tafa was a glory kickboxer, and it turns out it was his brother. So I fucked up big time there. So yeah, it's not hard, Justin Jr. So I automatically thought, right, he's come out, he's got a striking advantage. Maybe that will not seem the case, but what Justin Tafa does have, he has big power, big body kick, some big uppercuts. There's a fight on YouTube there, I think his name was John Harley, and the guy gave him an uppercut and his head was bouncing off the canvas. a horrible knockout. It really was a really, really nasty, nasty knockout. But what I liked from that fight was I think he got backed up a little bit too easy for my liking, but I loved his body kick. That's a big thudding body kick. You can see it, and that can affect anybody in the heavyweight division, I think, if he was to land it. De Castro, to me, he spams a lot of kicks. But what I like about De Castro
Yeah, the
is
leg kicks, yeah.
yeah. What I like about De Castro is the fact that he's kind of changed himself as being a pro from an amateur. If you look at his amateur record, he lost a lot as an amateur, but he's undefeated as a pro, which is means that he's. And I listened to an interview. He's making the right kind of changes, and fair play to him for doing that. I've got Justin Tafa as well, but could go could go any way really. To be honest with you, I'm not. I would say don't lay your money down in this fight, but I've laid my money down in this fight. But it was on the assumption that this fighter was a different fighter, so I might have to be a bitch and cash that bet out, take my money back and cancel it. So but I'm usually not that kind of guy that does that. I'll like hedge bets or whatever. I'll usually go for it just kind of for my own pride. But I'll maybe have to back out of this one. But I'm going to go Justin Tafa. I think fighting at home is going to be a big thing for him. The one thing that's a little bit worrisome, you can watch his fights on YouTube, but his last win, the first round's not on YouTube. And from what I've seen of pictures in the last hour, he lost the first round. He was getting heavy pounded on from the bottom. So, but Team Tafa didn't put the video of the first round on YouTube. They just showed the vicious knockout in the second. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know, two low heavyweights here, and really, it's just kind of crazy that these two guys are in the UFC. I can see why De Castro is. He went on to the Dana show and did well, got his opportunity and got himself a contract. Justin's maybe a little bit too early, but it is what it is. I'm going to go Justin Tafa via knock. I think this could become a bit of a slot fest, and then somebody's just going to land a shot and he's going to go to sleep. So I'll go Justin Tafa in that one. Luke Jumeau against Dhiego Lima is up next. Pay-per-view fight. Luke Jumeau, Dhiego Lima.
I know.
Fuck, I don't know what the deal is with that, but I like the Lima brothers. I like Dhiego as well. I don't think he's obviously not on the same level as his brother is, but the guy's came out. He's got himself a couple of wins in the UFC, and I thought he'd really win a fight outside his first one when he beat I think it was Oliveira that he beat. I thought he would never win another one. Absolutely starched Charlie Priest, and then got past the ever tough Court McGee. Jumeau is a guy that I think he could be better than what he is. I really do. I think that he doesn't really push himself enough. Lost to Shinzo Anzai. That's never a good loss in your record. Then bounced back in Daltrey Abbey. So I want to say 16 months, kind of like what Bobby Whittaker's been out for as well. I haven't got a good read in this fight, so I'll take the underdog. I'll take Luke Jumeau to win a very, very close kind of split decision win there. I think he's got, and plus Dhiego Lima, if you catch him with the right shot, you can knock him out as well. So I'll take Luke Jumeau for the win there.
I'm going to go with Lima. I just don't think Luke shows some good moments, but I think his fight IQ and decision making to pull that Addy fight, he was getting absolutely lit up in the first round. And if it wasn't for Abby just having awful cardio, and credit he did come in short notice, I think he would have finished Luke in the second round. Luke, experience-wise, I think Lima should be able to put this fight away. I think he should be able to keep the strike at a distance, and then get the fight to the ground and probably get some TKO, kind of ground and pound stoppage. I just don't see Luke. I know he's been out for a while, but I just don't see much in him. I don't see anything about him that makes it special. Like you said, Will, the only way I feel like he could win is if it gets to like a brawl, or Luke just swings for the hell of a leather and just kind of clips Lima, and then Lima goes down. But if Lima fights the fight he can fight, that I know he can fight, he should be able to just pick away, get the grind out, and just get that 3 points under the ground, or get that TKO finish. So I want Lima late, maybe first round stoppage or TKO, or maybe a decision.
Heavyweight division, Tuivasa against Sergey Spivac. Who have you got?
Bollocks. Yeah, I'm going to Tuivasa. I think Sergey, for me, didn't have the best opposition when he was on the regional scene. Came into the UFC, Was it Walt Harris he fought? It wasn't Walt Harris,
Hmm.
yeah. And got lit up like Christmas tree. Walt Harris just came forward to him, not like, and started throwing punches. And then when he got hit by a punch, he went, "Oof, I don't like this. Usually my opponents aren't that talented to throw punches like this," and crumbled. And I mean crumbled. Didn't even try to shoot for a takedown. Just stood up. It reminded me a little bit of Chuck Liddell to Ortiz. Up against the cage, gloves up, just taking them. And like, it's MMA. You can't do that in MMA because the gloves are too small. They do find their way through. With boxing, you can get away with it because you've got more coverage. The boxing gloves with MMA, if that's happening, duck, change levels, shoot, clinch, anything. You got to move. And he got absolutely wiped out with. And I think Tai Tuivasa won't be anything like Walt Harris. Walt Harris has A, got good footwork, B, he's got good hands. Tai Tuivasa doesn't have either of them. What Tai Tuivasa does have is weird power. He doesn't have to hit you hard. Doesn't have to throw a big shot to throw a hard shot. He can just clip you a little bit, and that'll wreck your day. So I'm going to tie to Tuivasa to stop Sergey. I think again, certain kind of fight made for him to win, and so he can have a shoey at the end or whatever the hell it is. Again, keep the promotional kind of thing going. So I'm going to tie to Tuivasa.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm going Tai Tuivasa. This Spivac guy he ain't good. He is not good. And you're coming down from Junior Dos Santos and even off to this guy. Yeah, you're being set up to win in your home country here, boy. And if you don't do it and you pull a stunt, then you don't deserve to be in the UFC, in my opinion. So, yeah, Tai Tuivasa is going to knock this kid out in the first round. I'd be very surprised if it goes any longer than a round. I've got Tai Tuivasa to win that one there. Co-main event. This is a fairly decent fight. I like this one. You have Iaquinta heading down to the land of the Aussies to face off against Dan Hooker from across the water in New Zealand. Really good fight. Dan Hooker got what he asked for. He asked for a top 10 guy. He called out, he said names. He said Iaquinta, and Iaquinta got on the phone and says, "Look, I'll take that fight." So, yeah, it's a fight for Iaquinta that kind of, I don't want to say it resembles the Cowboy one because it really doesn't, but when you look at someone like Dan Hooker who's kind of got a really tall frame, can fight at range, big power strikes, got some nasty chokes as well, so you have to be careful of that. And the guy's got some really good wins on his record, Dan Hooker. Like, he really has. Like Vic, Gilbert Burns is a great win considering what that guy's up to right now. Diakese. So yeah, Iaquinta, I think that obviously he's lost a few, but he's lost to good guys. He's beat some good guys. He has got big power in his hands. I do think he has a range disparity here with someone like Hooker, who can use. I think he's very good at using knees as you're coming in. I never seen him kind of really get into this higher level, if I'm being honest with you, with some of the wins that he has got. But he's right in there where if he wins this one here, he's going to plant himself in the middle of the top 10 of the UFC lightweight division. So fair play to that guy. Really, honestly, I'm kind of struggling with this one. I think that if I'm Iaquinta, I try and, because he is at a reach disparity, so he's going to have to try and find a way to get with Cerrone, that sometimes when you get in close, you get caught with massive strikes that can put him down. But the guy's super tough. He never goes down. He never gives up. So I think he can. I think he can wrestle here. I think that's what he's going to have to do. I think he's going to have to really get in close and then get those strikes off and try and get takedowns after it. But be very careful because Hooker's got big, nasty guillotine chokes and just chokes in general. So I'm going to go Iaquinta via a very, very kind of close decision. But I can also, he can maybe fight a really good fight on the feet and kind of win through that. But I just feel more going with Iaquinta in this spot here.
Yeah, it's a 5-inch reach advantage for Dan Hooker, and obviously the legs. So he's got super long legs, so God knows what those kind of reach advantage he has there. And with you, Will, I like when it just has to be smart. Stick to the wrestling, don't be silly. And I would just throw punches in bunches, so to speak, to get the win. Like, I know he got the win against Kevin Lee, but let's be honest, Kevin Lee looked awful in that fight. There was just Kevin Lee just did not look on point. There was something about that there, but you know, like you say, Iaquinta, he's got a hell of a cluster of good wins. You know, like I say, he's beat Kevin Lee twice. He's beat Jorge Masvidal. Like he lost to bloody Donald Cerrone and Khabib. Of recent times. So not a bad record to have on your resume. And he does learn from them. He's not a dumb fighter. He's a smart fighter. I think with the Cowboy fight, he just was silly fighting on his feet for too long with Cowboy. When Cowboy was just in the zone, because we've seen Cowboy have good days and bad days. Cowboy he was on just that day. He just was on point. Everything was working for him. And when that happens, you need to break that rhythm. You need to break a guy's rhythm on the feet, and the best way to do that is to grapple. And I'd like to see Iaquinta strike with Dan Hooker for a little bit. Get a bit of a read on Dan's striking. A couple of the moves that he's thrown, a couple of strikes that he's thrown. Get a couple of tells. Throw some feints to see how he reacts. To then move forward with the strikes to get to set up a takedown, or at least get to the cage. 3-round fight, which is ideal. As you saw with Dan Hooker, he's got okay endurance, but Iaquinta can go 3 rounds hard. He's got 3 rounds all day. He's on 5 rounds and it's nothing to him. I'm going to go Al as well. I think grind out win, get a decision win. Just go with a decision. Don't need to get a knockout or try for a submission. Get a decision win and walk away with the win. So I'm going Al on this one, buddy.
And we're moving on to the main event now, which is honestly one of the best fights I think we're going to have all year. And it's you've got Australia, New Zealand, and you've got the whole. It's like a massive fight for down in that region. Like it really is. No matter where you put this fight, it's going to be massive. But they've did well putting this in Australia and getting a big arena. You've got Robert Whittaker, the UFC middleweight champion, facing off against Israel Adesanya, the interim middleweight champion, and it's honestly a great fight. I cannot wait for this fight. It's going to be one of those fights I think as the week goes on, I'm going to get more and more pumped for. I'm not going to stay up and watch it because that means I'm going to have to watch all the stuff before it, and I don't really want to watch that stuff at 5 o'clock in the morning.
It will send me to sleep.
But you've got Robert Whittaker against Israel Adesanya for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. How do you see it going, and what's your prediction for the fight?
Oh, well, I think it's a lovely matchup. Really excited about it. Like you say, it's 2 quality skilled strikers. And both differently. Both quality strikers in complete different they fight differently, strike differently, so that's what makes it fantastic. Because they've got to figure each other out. Whittaker's not fought anyone like Adesanya, and vice versa for Adesanya. So I know they will have both brought people into their training camps to probably mimic their opponent, but when they're in there, it's a different kettle of fish. So I think you're going to see 2 guys figuring each other out at the start of the fight. Of course, Adesanya is going to be super cocksure of himself, and that's just the way he is. It's the mindset he has, and Whittaker's will be calm. I think if I'm Whittaker, man, he's got to be careful because he's been out. That's a big. It's a 5-round fight against a guy like Adesanya who can do 5 rounds, pretty good at 5 rounds, going hard. But man, those fights against Romero are a bit sketchy. And as well, if you think about that, he fought Yoel twice, 2017, 2018, and now it's so in 3 years he's had 2 fights. Where Adesanya, I think, has had 3 fights in 2 days. But Adesanya is going to be the more fresh and fight fit, is the best way to describe it. He's going to be sharper for the reactions. I think Whittaker's going to be trying to be Counter-Strike. That's Whittaker's game plan for this whole fight, would possibly be a Counter-Strike game. So I think if Whittaker tries to come in with that kind of burst that he has, Adesanya is going to be smart enough to use the knees, elbows and strikes to kind of catch Robert Whittaker. So I think Robert's going to be on the back foot all the fight, trying to come forward with counter-striking, trying to read Adesanya's tells. But if I'm Adesanya, I'm going for those leg kicks, I'm setting up that fight with those leg kicks, man. Just take away that burst and explosiveness from Whittaker in the fight. And I think I'm pretty confident at the moment with going for Israel Adesanya to actually beat Rob Whittaker. I think he can defend takedowns. If Rob Whittaker tries to go for the takedowns, I think Israel can defend him. He can get back up. And I think as a striking perspective, I think he's so calm and fluid. I think he's just going to catch Robert Whittaker out. I think he's just going to catch him with more strikes, land more. I think Robert Whittaker's going to get his licks in as well, but I'm going for Israel here for a 5-round, really, really chess match kind of fight. I think the pair of them are going to hit each other a lot, but I think Israel Adesanya's going to land more and just be the more dominant in the cage. He's going to have more cage octagon control as well, which play a factor for the judges. But I'm going 5-round decision for Israel Adesanya, my man.
For me, it's a range fight. It's completely a range fight because when you look, I mean, you obviously look at Izzy. He's a bigger guy. He's got a big reach. He's a switch stance striker, and once he establishes on the feet, he's really hard to really kind of get on top of him and like have the advantage over him really. And you see that in fights, and when he establishes, like the confidence just flows through him, and when he needs to turn it on, he turns it on. And when that's the one thing I really take from the Gastelum fight, from what I'm kind of hearing out of what he's been saying, that he had a really tough time that fight week. He had personal stuff, but then he knew when he had to turn it up in that 5th round, he did it, and like he absolutely. I mean, he whitewashed that fifth round. That was like an unbelievable round for him. But let's not look past the fact that Gastelum got in close and hurt him. He backed Izzy up. I've seen people come out and say that I think Rob Whittaker's going to use a grappling kind of game plan here. I'm like, when has Robert Whittaker ever did that? He's like the anti-grappler. He doesn't really use. I think maybe Uriah Hall was the last guy that he used as a guy that he took down. But he is an awesome anti-grappler. Like you've got people like your Yoel Romero, Jacare. They tried at will to try and get Robert Whittaker down, and it did not really work as much. I know Romero got him down up fairly quickly. He never really established. And saying that, Romero's not one of those guys, once he takes you down, he's going to stay on you for long. And Jacare did get him down kind of momentarily, but he's a really good kind of anti-grappler against high-level guys. Let's not like forget about that. He's facing the cream of the crop, and to have 2 wins over Yoel Romero on your record, I think is unbelievable. And with the amount of damage that he took, now that's a big thing as well here, is he's been off for 16 months. Or however long it may be, but like he took a lot of damage in that last fight, and then he had to make that weight cut against Gastelum. Then that injury was like a freak injury where it literally came on the day of the fight, and like thank God that they actually found that, because that could have been really, really bad for the kid. But to me, when I look, I've seen people say I think Gastelum hits harder than Whittaker. I don't. Personally, I think Whittaker's faster. I think he hits harder. I think he's more cerebral than what Kelvin Gastelum is. I think that once he's got you hurt, I think he is on you, and he's hard to get off you. Now, if he can hurt him like Kelvin did to Adesanya, and have a little bit more time to do something with it, I think that he could take out Israel Adesanya. One of the things I like with Robert Whittaker is just how fast he is to get into like the phone box and strike. And he's going to have to do this in this fight here by simply using elite footwork and quickness, but he has to be careful when he comes in, because Israel's the more seasoned fighter. He could start to pick off Whittaker, and he could start to read when Rob's going to do that. Now, what I think he should do, and we're talking about his grappling, I think if I'm him, I try and mix it up a little bit, try and take him down, make Adesanya think that every time when he comes into that close proximity that he's maybe going to take me down, so I have to be careful. And if Whittaker can get one of those kind of early on, I think that's a really good him to make Adesanya think. But if Israel starts to feel comfortable and starts to read Robert Whittaker, then I think Robert could be in for a really, really rough night. And I don't think he's really fought a fighter like this, Robert Whittaker, maybe outside of Wonderboy Thompson, who he fought years ago down at 170. When was that? 2014, so 5 years ago. He's never really fought a fighter like that. One of the things as well is this is in a stadium, so Izzy being the type of guy that he is, he's probably going to feed off that. Could he get distracted by it? I don't think he would. Whittaker's fought when UFC 193, when they were in the same arena. He fought there, so he kind of knows what it's like and that big stadium feel. My gut feeling was Robert Whittaker. And as the fight comes closer, I'm kind of moving back and forth between the two of them. But I'm going to stick with my gut feeling. I'm going to go Robert Whittaker. I think that he's going to win a very, 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 very close decision in Australia here. I think that there's going to be times where he's going to have to come through some adversity. I think it is he's going to have to come through some adversity. And then it's just how you score the rounds and how the judges score the rounds. So try and, if I'm him, mix it up and try and get in close and really hurt him. But I don't know. Everybody seems to be on Adesanya. So I'm going to go the other way and go with Robert Whittaker. A lot of guys that I kind of know are on Adesanya, and they got him as an underdog, and now it's the betting odds. Let me just quickly check that.
I think it's a favourite now, Adesanya.
Adesanya's the favourite, but I know in the UK, Robert Whittaker's like plus money underdog now. So, I'm going to go Robert Whittaker via decision, but I don't know. I've got this feeling with Adesanya as well. I love both guys, by the way. I think they've been great. I think Adesanya, like what he's did since he went to UFC has been like crazy. Really has. He's did everything right. He spoke right. He has fought great. There was times when I think I picked Marvin Vettori against him, and Vettori gave him a fight. Then I thought Brad Tavares would give him a fight. He starts Brad Tavares. His mindfuckery of Derek Brunson, the way he get into his head and make Derek Brunson fight a way that he knew that he couldn't last all that. And once Izzy kind of got established, like I said, he caught his distance. He could read what Brunson was going to do. He knocked him out easy. And then Silva, I think there was a bit of respect thing there, where he kind of, I don't want to say he took it easy on him, but I just think there was obviously the respect. This is the guy that I'm fighting, one of the biggest legends. And then the Gastelum fight's just an all-time great fight. So, but yeah, I'm going to go Robert Whittaker. That was my gut feeling. I'm going to stick with that. But great fight. So that's the fight predictions out the road for UFC 243. I'm going to quickly go through my bets. Now, I bet Justin Tafa.
No, you bet Junior Tafa.
I bet Junior Tafa. So yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. So I might cash that one out. Knowing me, I'll probably let it slide because I think it's a close. Even if it's not the guy I think it is, I've seen the fights of Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa. Justin Tafa. Fucking hell, I'm getting myself mixed up here. I've seen that he's maybe got. I think he's still got enough to beat someone like a Castro in there, but yeah, this card to me is a weak card for bet. I want to bet the main event, but then it's probably smarter just staying away. If I'm being honest with you, the Tuivasa, he's got a different line over here in the UK. It's like minus 275, so you could definitely parlay him up with maybe a Jake Matthews, a Pitolo. I think you could probably go that way. But outside of that, I don't like too much. I really don't. I'm already looking ahead to next week. I've already got a bet made for next week. In fact, I've got 2 bets made for next week, I think, already for the Tampa Bay card. But honestly, this is not... There's not many underdogs that really... Yeah, it's not a card that really many underdogs... I mean, I picked Jumeau Mullarkey. He's plus 130. Not the worst line kind of ever, but I need a little bit more than that, in my opinion. Luke Jumeau's plus 130. Iaquinta actually is plus 140. I think that's not a bad bet. So that might be somewhere that I go later on in the week when I've got a bit more time to kind of look at the lines and stuff. But you might be able to parlay some of the big favourites. Don't go near Megan Anderson.
No.
Easily screw that one up for you. But yeah, honestly, I'm looking ahead to Tampa Bay next week, and I've already
way better fights.
It's actually a really fun card next week.
Bloody crack it! Mackenzie Dern's back against Ribas. You've got Kron Gracie against Swanson, Jacek against Watterson.
Anderson.
Yeah, Vic and Price. So you know there's a knockout happening there.
Yeah,
Spanning Clark, Figueroa against Elliott. Like it's just a good stacked. Like there's fights on there. If you stuck that on a Aussie card, it'd be way better. Vittori against Sanchez. After Vittori spitting off on the social media about the fight getting moved, that's going to have fireworks in it as well. Do you know what I mean? There's some fucking awesome fights for this one. To look forward to. Yeah,
but that's all we're really going to talk about this week. We're not going to stick around much longer. We're going to be back for. I might actually see. Do you want to do that on Sunday night?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because like I say, actually I'm probably going to be done fairly early with that by the end of this week, so we can maybe get into that a little bit early and get it out a little bit earlier for people as well. So, from John and myself, thank you for being here with us. Like, comment, subscribe. We're back. Like I say, we're probably going to be back. The video's probably going to be out, I want to say Monday, Tuesday next week if we do it on the
Yeah.
Sunday night. So we're back for a really bumper card at UFC Tampa. And until then, thank you very much. Try and enjoy UFC 243 as much as you can. But until next week, guys, all the best.